On behalf of Icy Tales, I take great pleasure in welcoming Urvashi Jha, who is an active child nutrition specialist. So, welcome, ma'am. I'm so happy to have you on board. How was your day?
Thank you, Hiba. Thank you. It was really good. How about you?
Yes, it was great. Thank you so much for asking. So, without further ado, I think we should get started because I really want to see how this goes. So, can we get started with your permission?
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Alright, so let's get started with the first question. This is just basic about your journey. So going back to your younger self, did you always want to do something with regard to nutrition, or did it just happen with the flow?
To just brief about myself, I am an engineer,
Mm.
and because I had a coronial pregnancy and being all by myself, this is where it began from. I started researching about pregnancy and then childcare just because my own baby was born in 2020.
Oh.
So I had to take care of herself. So that's how it began. I was always into something like research,
Mhm.
but I had never planned that this is what it'll be like. So it just happened because of, I think, the pandemic and being all alone. Then obviously I was very possessive about my baby and had to take care of herself by myself. So that's how it began.
And I think the pandemic did play a good role for a lot of people to discover their new talents because even in my
So yeah,
even in
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
personal life, there were so many events which happened because of the pandemic. So when I heard that your story also started during the pandemic, I found some relatability there. So great job on that.
And it was also a period when fitness and nutrition, it all became very, very important. Though it was already, for me,
Yeah.
I was quite concerned about what I eat and what goes inside my body, for sure. But then when you have a baby, things get on, uh, it has to be better than what you are doing to yourself. So I had a habit of writing a diary, and
Mhm.
whatever I read in a day, I used to put it down in a notebook. That's where my pregnancy started from. And once you're 6 months old, I started, I wasn't there on Instagram till last year, 2021, January. And it was just randomly that I had just put up a post, and it got a very good response. So that's where I got myself certified as a pediatric nutritionist. And I'm still digging deep inside it. Let's see what happens.
Yes, I'm excited to see where this goes. And since you spoke so much about your parenting journey, what do you have to say about, importance of child nutrition and what should parents know about this?
It is a very, very good question, Hiba. The first 1,000 days of our life, as I already said, the pandemic and the talk about immunity building and everything that was going in the air. So the first 1,000 days of our life, it's very, very important.
Mhm.
Baby's brain develops up to 80% in the first 2 years. It's right from the day you conceive till the child's second birthday. So that is how important it is. And it keeps on developing to 3 and 4 years. So I always say that it's not only, feeding their stomach, you're feeding their brain as well, you're nurturing their brain as well. So
Mhm.
it's very, very important as a part of, parenting. I think what a child eats and consumes, it decides their behavior, it decides their well-being, and it has a very significant role.
Right. So that is something about the importance of nutrition that parents should be knowing. And I'm sure that if there are any parents watching this, they would have major takeaways from this. So thank you so much for that. Let's move on to my next question. I noticed on your Instagram feed, you had put up something about self-feeding. Can you tell us something about it and why is it important?
So again, that was a really good catch from your end. So if you see my page, I uh, do workshops in traditional weaning. So traditional weaning is something that has been practiced from quite decades. This is how we were raised as kids. We used to sit and our mothers used to spoon feed.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, 10-15 years back, baby-led weaning came into scene. And there are researchers that say that it allows babies to self-feed and
Mhm.
blah blah blah. It does have its own advantages as well,
Mhm.
but there are people who are not that confident enough to do that. So I started, training parents about traditional weaning, and I've already trained more than 1,500 parents by now. And it is all about how you allow your child to self-feed.
Mhm.
Baby led weaning, you see pages on Instagram where you see that babies are eating by themselves at 6 months of age. And many people question that, it cannot happen with traditional weaning, which I totally disagree. And that's where you see it's there on my page, that how can you allow your child to, independently eat and eat by themselves, regardless of what weaning method you choose. Because in my journey of, when I started solids for my baby, I was also under pressure about these methods of weaning. Baby-led weaning, traditional weaning. Should I combine these methods and start? So there's a lot of stress. If you dig deep inside it, you'll find that parents are under intense pressure. And what method shall we choose? I always tell parents, it's not about the method, it's about what you're feeding your child. Feed them homemade food, allow them to, eat by themselves, and it will do magic. We've also grown, by traditional weaning method. We have grown, all of us have grown in our times. Our parents have sat around with us and they've fed us, and now we eat her. It's innate to humans. Feeding is something that you cannot take away from us. By time we will surely learn to eat, and it is a part of, trust me, I have spoken to mothers who are under postpartum depression, just stressing about, I'm not able to follow BLW, and not able to feed my child well. I'm a working mother. I'm not able to pay attention to what my child eats. And this is where, it started from. And this is where, Go to Mama is all about. Just making it easier for everyone. All about Indian food, Indian eating habits, and how well it can go along with your, life.
I was very curious to know about this topic because self-feeding was something which I was not very aware about. So that is why I had actually put this question, because it was really, I was getting very curious. So thank you so much for giving us that answer. Moving on to my next question, since we are seeing like massive changes from how the traditional ways were, like you mentioned, so what do you think is the importance of nutrition in today's world, which was not there in the previous time?
Let's talk about population first. The major impact that has come into our life, that has adversely impacted our lives, is obviously population. The quality of food that we used to have, our parents used to have, it's no more the same, right?
Yeah.
The demand is not able to, the demand and supply ratio is not, happening properly.
Yes.
So obviously the food is not what we used to have. It's no more that nutritious, I feel. The market is flooded with products called as organic, but even if you have a terrace farming, if you just put out a pot and allow some seeds to grow, some vegetables to grow, you'll see that in today's soil, you have to put some fertilizers, you have to put pesticides, and then even a small chili starts growing. So my question is, how can a massive production of especially packaged baby foods, be organic? Because organic is a lot more about, just about no sugar, no preservatives, and also about the quality of food that you are including in the packages. And I always encourage parents to allow the children to have homemade food, however simple it may be, rather than buying packets from the market. This is where it has changed. Remember our childhood, right?
Yeah.
I remember it was a kind of, a party thing when we had things from outside, right? It wasn't a daily doable thing that we'll have a packet of chips, a packet of, something of that sort. But now it has become a regular habit, just because of the increase in numbers of, number of working women. So it is very, very important, and just go simple with what we are having, what we Indians are having. And I feel that does wonders. Indian eating habit, it has, it's already very nutritive in nature. It is very well balanced. And even a simple dal rice does more wonder than, all these packet food stuffs, I always say.
Dal rice has always been my favorite.
It is. You can just club it with anything, and instead, and these food packets are addictive. Now we hear these terms called as picky eating.
Yes.
I mean, just remember your childhood. Did you even hear these terms when we were? It's just about 2 decades back, right?
Correct.
But there was no such terms used. Then I would say because of working parents, we are not able to spend that much time with our children. Indulgence of more screen time, that you'll see that on my page as well. I always try to inculcate. It's that we cannot eradicate screen time from our lives, but at least we can minimize it as much as we can. And that has led to, severe problem and disorders in children. So that's very, very important. We have to maintain a balance between when they are watching, what they are consuming. It's very important.
Ma'am, can you elaborate some more on screen time parenting?
So if you it becomes a very, I say it becomes a very negative topic, to be honest, because if you go and even if you try to Google about incidents that has happened because of screen time, then this gaming era, we are humans, we are social animals, we need to talk to each other. When our children are growing, we have to indulge in more healthy conversations with them, right? Rather than just looking at the screen. What does screen do to you?
We
While
just
we
get
are eating
lost.
and we are having our screen, we're just distracting ourselves. We are not even focusing on what we are eating. Children today, they finish their meals, and if you ask them, what did you eat? Many of them are not aware what I had in my meal. It's just over, it just passed by. It's no more the meal time that we used to have. Okay, we have this in our plate today. If our mother used to cook something very interesting, I remember we were so happy about it. But it's just about watching some cartoon or watching some episodes. It has come up to that level. And honestly, if you read more about it, it's leading to many disorders, like passive autism as well. So the sensory disorder, then speech disorders, it's all coming from there. So I would say screen time has to be regulated. You cannot just eradicate it, but we need to balance it in our kids' life at least. And it just starts from 6 and 7 months. You'll see these app era, I call it's the app era, all these brain development, right brain, left brain, and all these developments are happening on apps.
Right.
In Einstein's era, there was nothing, there weren't these apps. All these great researchers and scientists just did it without going through these right brain development and left brain development, and it used to happen. Why have we become so pressurized about something that's innate to humans?
Yes.
It will happen. Just let them live in the natural environment and it will happen. And I say that natural environment is missing these days.
Right. I think this entire conversation gave me like a reality check on how things were before and how things are now. So,
and I would mention this, that even adults, though it has not been very neurologically proven, but even in adults, you will see that on many research papers, they mention that screen time, it has so much impact on your hormones as well.
okay.
It surges the happy hormones in that, and you just don't tend to get out of it. You just want to be inside it because it's just getting your happy hormones out, and you're just indulging in it without paying heed to whatever is happening around the world. So it's a great loss. I say it's a great loss to us.
And it's a topic.
The marketing gimmick that is happening, and the marketing gimmick that's happening, the right brain and left brain, and this packet and that packet. Let it be simple. Let it be that simple as our parents had it, right? We grew up so well. I'm very confident about they were like parenting it really well. So we grew up well, so we can make it happen as well.
And I'm glad that you're spreading awareness on this topic. So let's see how the next generation gets to be.
Sure.
Moving on to my next question. I'm sure you're at the best phase of your life, but what do you want to do future, and what are your future goals in life?
I have a lot of things in my mind, to be honest. It's about nutrition. How can I, my target is, how can I nurture healthy living starting when a child starts solids, right from day one? Starting solids is recommended around 6 months of age. So how do I help parents to allow them to eat at home? The first target is that. Ghar ka khana. How can you nurture that thing? Right. Why have we, brought so many packets inside our homes? It's not needed. It's not needed. Yeah. At least read what's behind the packet and you'll see what you're feeding to your child. And it happened, it was happening for decades. And it's so simple. I just said that, even dal rice, our Indian eating habit is so nutritious, is so balanced, it's so diverse. Right. That you don't need to, just mess it up with so many things and, just being overwhelmed seeing everything on social media. Let it be simple. It has to be very simple. And then let's see what's happening next. I don't know where it'll lead to. This is just the first thing in my pipeline that, just try to let kids have screen-free meals, and ghar ka khana. I always say I nurture homemade food. I'm myself very fond of, eating at home. So that's where the journey begins from. And I don't know where it will, lead me to.
Swiggy and other restaurants are going to be very furious.
I know,
You for
that's been happening already. To be honest, that's been already happening, with me. Because I hardly promote, and there are mothers who are doing, for emergencies. I always say you have that thing. You can at least, you can try to use them. But there are so healthy and easily available things at home. For example, when parents ask me, what do we feed when we are traveling? How do you feed your child? Makhana, which is like our Indian food, has become popular worldwide. All our Indian food is getting, popular worldwide. It's going to Western countries, and then we are taking it over from them.
Yeah.
So why not get back to basics, get back to old school when it comes to nutrition as well, and it will do wonders. We did not have so many, these kind of disorders and, sensory problems, I think, 2 decades back. It's just the result of screen time and unhealthy eating. I feel it's just because of that. And we need a lot of, communication with our children as well. It's very, very important.
And I hope that you accomplish all your goals on this bucket list, and let's see where the future takes you. All the best for that.
Sure. I'm just trying to do that. It's just said that, it's not only about nature and nurture. In all the good books of nutrition, you will see that it's all about nature and how you nurture it. So I can't directly control nature right now, but at least the nurturing part, I can try on that. So that's where, if you ask about what your goal is, so nurture for working parents. How can you make it simple? How can you make it easy? That's what my target is.
So perfectly crafted. So with this being said, we can move on to our next question. What general advice do you have for parents to, help their children get nutritious food and have good nutrition?
Offer homemade food and get back to basics. Just, it's so strange when, the Western market comes up to me and says, we've been offering millets, and people in India come back to me and say, what pasta can I offer to my child? So that's how it's going. We instead of asking what flavors of rice can I offer, we are moving into that pasta culture, and they are moving up to the millets and all these ancient Indian cereals, I would say, cereals and grains. So just get back to basics. Eat local. Whatever is local to you is very important. I'm an ardent fan of Rujata Devekar, and to be honest, this is somewhat. She's been a very, very. She's been of great influence in my journey of parenting and obviously nutrition. And that's why I say, whatever is local to you, eat that. Whatever is easily available to you, eat that. And that's how nutrition should be.
Perfect advice for the parents. So I think we did enough of the serious talking. Let's get to the fun part of this interview. I'm sure you just said you have trained 1,500 plus parents. So I'm sure you would have had some funny and weird experiences. So if you can think of any, please feel free to share it with me and our audience.
I cannot say that it's directly a funny incident, but I find it funny, Hiba, that, at 4.5 months of age, when parents come to me and ask, how can I offer tea and coffee to my child? So this is where, I would say, this is where it has come from, from eating healthy to thinking about chai and coffee, which is prevalent in India. I would say it is a part of, many homes that, when you start solids, you just offer some biscuits along with chai. So it was really very, very funny for me that, and in today's day, we are aware that caffeine and chai is not healthy for us. So how can you, offer it to your kids?
Fair enough.
And the next thing that comes up, which is very, it is an emotional, I think, outburst as well. And I would say it is a matter of concern as well. So when you start solids, especially when you start weaning for your child, when you start offering food, the biggest emotional turmoil that comes in today's parents, and especially mothers, is like the change in recommendations of organizations that has happened. When we were around, when we were kids, we were allowed to have salt and sugar up till 1 year old. In today's recommendations, many organizations, health organizations do not recommend, WHO does not recommend starting sugar and salt before 1 year of age. So this becomes like, a great, I would say, argumental topic. This is of intense stress for parents. But again, there are many things funny related to this. When this starts, so there's a lot of fun things happening behind. There's a lot of Kyunki Saas Bhi Bahu Thi types of episodes happening. But yes, it is something that we must, be aware of, that things have changed. And pediatrics overall, I feel, has changed a lot. I belong to a doctor's family myself. So I see a lot of changes have happened, in pediatrics as well. So we have to accept that.
I think this was, 20 minutes of a lot of knowledge, a lot of fun, and a lot of smiles. So thank you so much for giving us your time. I truly had a great time, because this was a topic, like I said, I had no idea about. So I'm really happy that I did this, and I hope you had a great time as well.
Yeah, Hiba, it was a pleasure. It was like, the questions were very well, it was, I felt that people are paying attention to what I'm putting up there on Instagram. So I felt that my work was acknowledged here. So really thank you for that. And it was a very pleasant conversation.